call it a day. In my life, apart from the fact that I have always been a risk taker, I also had a wonderful life partner, my wife Parvati. She also has had a very good career as in the secretarial service to another gold medalist from IIT Roorkee. And that gentleman has earned a very good name in developing valves for the international gas pipelines that done, and she used to help with the tendering process and all that. But in the year 2002, everything changed because I needed a secretary, and I did not want my wife to be a secretary to somebody, so it made sense. So we became partners in life for the second time in a different life. We have two children. Our daughter Kavita, she's married and her husband worked in Hero in the BPO sector, and today is working for an American company in Gurgaon. And our late arrival son, who is a product of BTEA Lodi Estate, who passed out just last year, is studying in Auckland. He is doing a course of diploma in IT support. And just before this session started, I had a FaceTime call from him. And he asked me, "Papa, where are you?" I said, "This is where I am." And our school function, and we are back 50 years in life. 11th, I already cleared my 12th and I'm doing my diploma. So you grow up and then we'll talk tomorrow. So that's the kind of guy he is. And as I told you, life has been, it's been wonderful because maybe I'm told that Sriram and Geeta have planned a session tomorrow where suggestions on how to take the movement forward and all that. I was tempted today morning to even, if given the time, to talk about how this all happened. But I did not yield to temptation because I did not want it to be a trailer of a movie show when we are going to see the real movie, how it goes. And as far as the moment of the time I had at school, the one moment I can think of, well, you see, when I had come from Geneva and joined in the 8th class, I was living at face value and we were very strict. I never knew that every teacher had a name. I mean, their name which was given to them by their parents and another name given by the students. I never knew the significance of those names also. So one day what happened, one of our teachers used to be called as Churanti Goli. And I don't have to tell you as to why he was given that name. And we were in the classroom, right next to Rajaram sir, the towering figure, who was always, his weight was kept under, control only by the other Ganesh Sharma, because Rajaram sir used to chase him all over the school. I could never understand why. So a lot of things I could not understand. Some kind of a, situation where you don't understand what do you say, what's happening. And I was just standing there and sadly somebody was asking that Ganju he had the habit of putting everybody in trouble. And he said something and I just answered him that I think student is going next. And I turned around to face that teacher. My goodness. He was so furious, he chased me all over the place, he caught me and he told me that I'm letting you go only because I know the antecedents and I know every member of your family. And I never expected you to do this at all. But that day, I grew up by at least 4 years in just 1 day. And then I knew that, look, this is how the system operates. So better stay clear and try to focus on academics. So maybe it changed my life and therefore I got involved with good guys, not the bad guys, like Ashok Rajan and Vaipalu. And maybe that's why I'm standing here. But again, it's destiny that I did not lose that 1 year to a convent. And by getting back into a Tamil school, it has brought me all the way. And this has given me the motivation and incentive to work with Murli Ramesh, Bichu, not the gang of 4 as KR we will call it. I call it the gang of 67, and with 14 to go. So that's how I look at it in the future. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I might make some good announcements tomorrow, including the fact that the Gang of 4 will put in the papers so that a new broom sweeps well. So we would like to have a new team to take over. We might like to move to Mission 2023 for the DTA centenary year. Maybe. God. Thank you.
From IP college and got married to an engineer. My husband retired from Engineers India, and we have got 2 sons. One is in Delhi, the other is in Germany. The other one is blessed with 2 sons, and the younger one who is working with SAP in Germany, he is also blessed with 2 sons. I don't have any granddaughter at all. No. Like me, my daughter-in-laws are also, in Tamil we say asad, so like that. No daughter at all. So that's nothing. Thank you. Nothing like that. No, in Tamil we say, Pudija Jala Namulamar Kardu. So like that, they are very scared and number back in anything, so nothing interesting. Thank you.
Well, we remember her more because of her brother, Sundar Rajan, who was a terror with his cue ball bowling. And he was, I think he would have also made it to some league if he was properly coached. Because he was a left-arm bowler with so much that we were always left guessing. And so we know her as his sister. And Desigan also played with us, so another brother. So that's how we know. And she called me up in Coimbatore saying that I couldn't place her at that time, but then later on realized that she's the sister of Sundarajan and Desigan. Pichu, please.
Everybody. It's really nice to see. I'm really happy if all the folks that are here today. But hello. So I think I'll start off with memories of what I had in my school. I just cannot forget that. I was not a very bright student. I used to hang out with Ganju, known as Ganesh Sharma, and the other guy was known more Veda. I hardly used to attend class, hardly used to study. Most of the time I used to go, I used to have a bike. So we used to go to, the other funny part was my own sister, she used to be in my class. And she would never tell my parents that I used to cut classes. So, people can find us sitting in London there, or I don't think I will have any movie theater, starting from Bahar Bench to, every nook and corner of Delhi. So, and finally what happened is I was almost over a year at the age, and Raja refused to give me a hall ticket. So, but I wanted to appear, somehow, and I had to tell my dad, I went to talk to him. So somehow, he being a Palgati, my dad Palgati, so some communication went on, finally I got a hall ticket. And finally I passed out, but not a very good percentage. And fortunately I got admission in Punjab University, I did my BSc. And then landed up in Citibank, my first job in Citibank. And I really owe great debt of gratitude to Citibank because of that I'm here today. And I worked for about 6-7 years and moved up to the inspection team. And from there went to Bahrain and worked for National Bank of Bahrain. So my whole career has been banking, and I resigned as a chief internal auditor and migrated to Canada, which is in 1995, and since 1995 I'm there. I think in between I forgot to say something about my marriage. Was a very funny marriage, and my brother-in-law is here. He will probably endorse that. I hadn't seen the girl, she hadn't seen me, and my family had seen her, but none of them had seen me actually. And their family, one of the family friends called Subramanian used to work for Indian Embassy, and somehow I used to, I was his roommate. So he had gone and told his parents that he's a teetotaler, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, and I used to do all that. So anyway, so we got married, and we got 2 kids. My son is younger. He's finished his software engineering and is working for LinkedIn. He's in California. And my daughter is, she's done her PhD in artificial intelligence. It's called assistive technology, and he started a startup company called Graceful Technology. That's my life. And other than that, I'm retired now, and I have my non-profit corporation called Savika Canada. I'm sure all of you must be getting emails from that. I do promote art and culture, and every year, We organize concerts, music concerts, and I do some reading services as well. That's all about it. And,
Most exciting moment.
most exciting moment, I don't think I remember it. Other than they always said that, cutting classes and, seeing not really any movie, So I'm glad that I can come. Actually, my mother had to undergo a cataract surgery, and somehow I was lucky that I got postponed to April. So I'm fortunate to be here and I can see all of you. Thank you.
Very modest about himself. I think many of us who have had the opportunity of interacting with him or his family or his children, one thing I need to share is that his wife and my wife were classmates in 74 batch of Karol Law School. And I met his wife first because my wife's one of their reunions was in my house in Bangalore. And then they realized, then Bichu started, putting the thing together and said, oh, you're in my batch. So that is one connection we have. Secondly, Vichu's very, very hospitable host. That's what people who have visited his house say. And although you have had some visitors from our group, and they all are with one voice say that what a wonderful host Vichu and his wife Jaya have been to each one of them who have visited them. His children visited Coimbatore, and they came on the road at that time to Coimbatore, at 3 years back. And I was really impressed with both the kids, brother and sister, both of them who sing very well and of reasonable, very high standard. And they had, we just spent an hour in our house, and I think we have a wonderful family. And now I will ask Geeta to say before, I'll say last about myself.
Thanks, Sriram. Well, I also would like to continue with Pichu for a moment. He was the one who actually called me from Toronto first time. And I just knew him as a person.
Somehow I got the number of you.
Yeah, somehow he got my number and he called me at home. And he said, this is Pichu calling. I just played for a moment, and then he said, remember Shanta? Shanta is his sister. I used to walk down, back from school every day. And Pichu, I knew only as the brother of Shanta, who would be pushing his bike by the side, and he would never talk to us at first. And so I was surprised, suddenly I'm getting a call from this Pichu who has never spoken to me before. And then he introduced me to the Yahoo group, and then we know how the rest of the relationship progressed. But we have had the opportunity to meet multiple times. He was able to visit our home, and I was able to visit his home, along with Sundaraman and many other friends, Savitri and Ramesh, of course. I was delighted and honored to have all of you. So again, requesting people who have your children in United States or Canada when they come to visit, do make it a point when you visit New York to just give me a call. It's just 50 miles away, a train ride, half an hour away. Okay. Now coming to my interesting moment in school, I think growing up in traditional families, the usual bringing up a girl with tala kuniyama nadakkaradu and all of that stuff. Tala kuninji nadakkaradu rather. So a little bit of all that was there as I was brought up. But I think it was C.R. Saroj, who also did physics honors with us. C.R. Saroj was the one that introduced me to Harold Robin novels. And I said, oh my God, there is such a bigger world than Madras School and Punerkovil. So I was most often in my extracurricular time, I was making prasadam with my mother for the temple. And Carnatic music. interested me about. I said, it introduces me so many cultures outside of what I have seen. So CSR, thank you in Chennai. And then other interesting part was the lunch that we used to have, with Radhika and Kesita, Manikiri, unpredictable. Prema used to join off and on, but if Jayashri or Manikiri comes along, then she will disappear. So all these things very interesting. But then only at that time, I don't have any sisters, only at that time I came to know that there are, so many different thoughts in girls' minds, and we were able to share a few things, which was, the blossoming time, and we learned a lot from each other. Some things we may not be able to share with you. But anyway, that lunchtime was most beneficial for us. And then we also realized that, we were all a little bit career-oriented. I was quite surprised when Kesita told me that she wanted to pursue architecture. I said, architecture, I've never heard about it. I heard of engineering. And then, one of the days we went to Kesita's house, and we both were there. And her father was explaining to us, how Kesita is going to go into architecture. And like that, there were lots of little introductions to the parents, and they were always trying to nurture us in different ways. I think that was one of the best parts of growing up with our friends in the ME schools. I think as was my personal life, probably all of you have read it, or I've talked to you about it, or you've asked me about it. Basically, in 1971, I finished my master's in physics with Jairam and C.R. Saroj at that time. And I toyed with the idea of doing PhD in education a little bit. I said that it's not for me. But I did go into teaching in high school in Convent of Jesus and Mary. Physics and mathematics were the two subjects which I loved, and I taught them. And after that, got married to Siva, my dear husband. And I saw yet, the horizon become much farther away and much larger. It was not just Harold Robbins' books, but then Siva introduced me to so many new things. As I got married and went to the United States with him in 1973. And he was fully supportive of, my wanting to study, and he said, oh, you should do this, you should do that. There's many things to do at home. We had little twins at home, just born. Never bothered about, how the diaper changing had to be done, or how they were being fed, and he was very career-oriented. But still, he always said, Geeta, you go back, you have to do PhD in education in Connecticut, because I was in Connecticut. Or he'll say, do whatever, make a phone call. So when my kids were 2.5 years old, so 2.5 years old, I made a call to the Ohio State University, which is where I studied. And then I told him, but who should I talk to, I don't know who I should talk to, how I should go about this thing. He said, just call the dean, talk to him. So I called the dean of computer science, and that dean turned out to be such a wonderful person. He told me from 101 4-credit course, he says how I could just do 3 courses and get the background and go into master's in computer science. And that's what I got into, and that's where my career was. So here I have Siva to thank, and my dean of computer science department. Lata Shobha went to school, and I went to work in AT&T Bell Labs. So I continued that for about 25, 30 years. And worked as a software engineer with some promotions, this, that, and other. The most interesting thing was, again, it helped me grow quite a bit. Within the company, there were so many human beings coming from different backgrounds and different culture, which was extremely helpful to me, because that was an inner need, I believe, for me. So getting to know all this stuff definitely helped me in becoming a more contented person. And I do practice music a little bit. And one interesting thing is, Sugata and I were very close in school, along with, Swarna Kumari and Radhika and others. And Sudhit was learning dance, even though she sings very well now. But while we were in school, she was learning dance and I was learning music. And her arrangement was exactly on the same day as my arrangement for my Carnatic music was. So we could not see each other's arrangement. So that was one thing. And after that, I saw that Sugata had really struggled with music, and I bought her cassettes. I hadn't met her in many years, but I did buy her cassettes and CDs and listen to them. She has a wonderful voice. And I was so glad to hear that Prema here is also wonderful Carnatic music. So, from the girls' side, it looks like we venture into different types of things. I heard so many of our batchmates here tell us about games and cutting classes and having fun. I think we probably did not have much fun running out. So with that, I would like to ask Siva if he wants to add anything.
I feel like Julius Caesar, when he walked into the chambers of Cleopatra, he said, "I have not come here to speak." I just want to add something about my twin daughters. Shobha is a law professor at Penn State Law School, and she just recently published a book on immigration law. She is one of the authorities on immigration law in the United States, recognized by American Bar Association. She has 2 children, a girl and a boy, and she is very busy tossing up home, taking care of the children, and doing her professorial work. My other daughter is a physician. She is a chief medical officer and senior vice president for Brown University Hospital System. She is also a professor in medicine, and we are proud of their achievements. Geeta is largely responsible for raising them because I was so busy in pursuing my own career. So thanks for including me in these proceedings, even though I had nothing to do with the school.
I saw God's good wishes and everybody's good wishes and good energy that is around. I think the more goodness we do, it more comes around. I think let us do like a random act of kindness, and you will see that it just goes through the world. So with that, I will thank you.
You know me, I had a fairly active life in school. If it was Scouts, I was there. If it was NCC, I was there. And if it was cricket, I was there. And not that I was excelling in anything, but I was there. And so I was quite popular in the extracurricular activities that the PT used to organize, and we just heard about him having passed away, Mr. R. And I particularly felt it because he was one of those who used to encourage us in our cricket matches. Remember, Jayram, he used to bring sometimes food from his own house with a lot of ghee in it and fed us well during the refreshments. And even the scout camp, he brought a huge tin of ghee with the rotis, like a typical North Indian, and fed us well. Well, so that was my uneventful. I joined the school in class 6. I was in a government model school, before that. So when I came to this school, I didn't know about Tamil in terms of writing conversational, yes, but nothing to do with Tirukural or alphabets or anything. So I should write, I don't know Tamil, and get either 5 marks or 0, depending on the teacher's note that day. And I passed out, I joined BSc in the Hindu college, and felt I was going nowhere with science. and I suddenly had a realization that maybe I should encash the best that I have, and the thought that maybe communication and English, which were my subjects, which were strong, I should try my hand at that. And somewhere along the line, some people came up to talk about journalism, and I kind of, from college days itself, I switched to English honors, and started writing freelance for some of the papers. And around that time, this jubilee was born in 1969, which is a youth field for children between 15 and 30. And we were supposed to give interviews, do interviews, and that helped me shape up my early career in journalism. I got into Hindustan Times. After that, I remained in journalism for 36 years. I have been in Hindustan Times, the Indian Express, and the Tribune in various capacities, and mostly in Delhi. I lived in Delhi for 50 years. For a good 50 years, after which we had a house. I got married, I was skipping a little bit. We got married in 75, and we have 2 daughters. Both of them also passed out from BTA, Karolwag, in the 90s. And both of them we taught them Bharatanatyam continuously for about 15-20 years. And they were dancing together in Delhi for a period of time. And they are married with 2 kids each. My wife, Geeta, and we were married in 1975, which is wife, as I mentioned earlier, is also the same batch as my wife, which we discovered later. And my wife, she got married just out of college, even before finishing college. And later on, she worked as an HR person and completed her studies after marriage and through correspondence. And we moved to Bangalore in 2003, and we have a house there. I switched my line from journalism to corporate communications and PR with a corporate house, after which I had my own agency doing PR for a number of companies and organizations in Delhi and later in Bangalore, including some in the real estate. After which we were in Bangalore 10 years, we have a house in Bangalore. Suddenly my wife wanted to do a course in Vedanta with Swami Dayananda Saraswati's ashram in Anekati, which runs courses for residential courses for 3.5 years, where they teach a class of about 70-80 from all over India and abroad, those who are interested in learning. So since she was moving to Anekati, which is about half an hour away from Coimbatore, I also moved. And while being in Coimbatore, she just finished that course and she's now into teaching. And we like Coimbatore so much. I mean, like here we can, he came to Coimbatore a few months before I did, or a year before I did. We don't really feel like leaving Coimbatore now, so we have decided to stay put in Coimbatore. We recently also constructed a house for ourselves. So we are now in Coimbatore, and I do some kind of media consulting and writing and communications, which is my strength. And generally I'm now on a low key. I do things when I like it. I recently was made the convener for Speak Mac in Coimbatore chapter, where to help the organization revive its connections with the school kids. The whole idea of Speak Mac, as many of you may be knowing, is to promote art and culture to school and college children. And so we are involved in that process. I'm also involved in the Rotary work, trying to help them with communication and editing work of the Governor's Monthly newsletter. And I must say that I have been in touch with most of our friends, like here, also I think Constantine, his uncle was my neighbor in Delhi, and we used to exchange some information about KRV's movement, and I was in touch with him even before we met in Coimbatore. Others, mostly there's Sundar, with whom I was in touch because he became my neighbor after we left school. We were in college, we were neighbors in multi-story flats. We used to play cricket there also. And but it's been a wonderful thing because once it started, I think I can also recall Vichu calling me from Canada saying that, oh, you remember that we were in the play together? But I couldn't remember, but I knew that Vichu was there in the school, I could place him. And since then we have continued our Skype talk or sometimes telephonic talk whenever we could catch each other. And with the others, it was after Sundar we got into the Yahoo group that we exchanged a lot of information. And when I tell a lot of people in my own circle that we have 67 of our people traced out of a school of class of 91, they are all amazed. And I think to all those who helped in doing this, I think it calls for 3 cheers for that. Because it's not a small number to get 67 on our network. And even if 22 of us have come out of that 67, even then we have to celebrate. And we have to build on this whichever way we can from today or tomorrow when we have a discussion. And I'm so happy that I was able to also spend time with Jairam, his wife Lalita. They came over to Coimbatore. And I was able to also take them around a bit. We had some common friends in Coimbatore, where Jairam was evincing some interest in some land there, which I showed him around a bit. Similarly, there have been others. I think with some others we met in Chennai chapter. The first time we were, I think there were about 20 of us who met 3 to 4 years back. 4 years back? 4 years back, where all those who, some of them who were not there, Sundara, and they also turned up there. And that was one of the very good meetings we had, where we exchanged photos all of us up to date. Delhi people we have been roughly in touch, but together like this, I think it's something amazing that we have got together like this. And I feel very happy that I'm able to be part of this. And I'd like to continue our association for as long as it goes on. Thank you.
Guru Brahma